Okay, I think we're good. Just checking. Give me 1 second here. All right, we are live. Hello, guys. My name is Gabriel Beltres of Project Freedom, and I wanted to talk to you guys about a concept that I use in my business every single day that has helped me to generate a full-time income online. Now, income disclaimer, you can see our average earnings at Beltres Project / income. Now, the concept that I want to basically talk upon is a concept that I use every day in my business, and it's helped me to generate an income online. And a lot of people use this, and it's not anything. Ooh, hold on. And it's not anything new. It's not anything that nobody's doing now, because obviously I had to learn it from somewhere. So it obviously works because I'm using it and I continue to use it. So with that being said, I want you guys to open your mind, right? Whatever you have going on in your mind, go ahead and stop it. Get a pencil and a paper, or a pen and a paper, whatever you have, and take notes, right? Take notes, because this is going to be the thing that might give you the breakthrough, that probably will give you the breakthrough that you need in order to keep going, creating content, creating useful information, and creating something that you can use on an everyday basis for your business. Okay, with that being said, before we get into, we got probably some new people here that don't know who I am, and I want to give them a brief introduction of who I am. So, military veteran, or on the way out anyway, and about a few years ago, I got diagnosed with a condition known as an arterial venous malformation. Right? Not a lot of people know what that is. The doctors describe it as a cluster of veins and blood vessels that are not supposed to be there. So, with that, it pretty much brought my military career to a halt. With that, I was faced with a really big dilemma, which was, how am I going to provide for my family? How am I going to provide for myself? Right? How am I supposed to support myself now that I went from a steady income to pretty much nothing? So I started searching for a way to generate an income, and I was looking at stuff that I could do from my military experience, and I couldn't find really anything, because the economy is crap right now. So I started like searching, got fed up, and gave up pretty much. I was like, you know what, screw this. I'll do this another day, another time. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I still have a little bit of time. I can worry about it later. Procrastination, never good. All right. So I kept going, and I was on Facebook, and I came across a Facebook ad, and like, I didn't know it was an ad at the time, but now I do know that it's an ad. And it was just like, Hawaii man uncovers secrets to generating an income online. I was like, you know what? I never tried this online market or the online business stuff, so I'll give it a look-see. I went to a live event, and at this live event, I kind of got my mind blown. My eyes got open, and I got in right away. And ever since then, I've been generating an income online, right? So, not an exciting story or anything like that, but it is just something to kind of keep in your mind, that there are ways other than what you know to be able to generate an income. Now, with that being said, I want you to keep an open mind, right? If you don't have an open mind, your possibilities are only going to be limited to what you know, and that's not good. If you're not willing to learn from somebody who is generating success, or somebody who's on the process of making whatever the case might be, if you're not open to gaining new knowledge, you're always going to be stuck in the same situation you are now. Whether it's have a dead-end job, a 9-to-5 job that's not going to get you anywhere, where you barely make any money to get by, right? You're counting your pennies paycheck to paycheck to try to get by, which this life is too short to get by. You need to live a life of excess, right? That's what we all want, is a life of excess, where you don't have to check the bank account, where you don't have to worry about what you're doing when you're doing it, right? You want to be able to just make your decisions and just go. Move forward, make a plan, and just go, right? And that's what I'm going to teach you here. So without further ado, let's get into this thing, because I don't want to make this video too long. Let me make sure everything is going how I want it. 1 second. All right. So, learn, do, teach. Why do I even preach this, right? Learn, do, teach is an important concept that I found when I started marketing and doing this stuff online, which helped me not only keep learning and growing as an internet marketer, but also moving forward with content and creating compelling content, creating content that people just even want to read or see or watch or whatever the case might be. Just creating content and doing it on a daily basis. Daily, that's a key word there, daily basis, so that people will actually come and see my content and actually see my page or see whatever I'm offering, right? Creating me as an authoritative figure on the online marketplace, all right? And now, it seems like a simple concept, but I'm going to explain to you how I incorporated it into my business so that you can do the same thing to you and you can do the same, have the same success that I have, right? Once again, income disclaimer, I'm not saying you're going to generate income with this. I'm just teaching you what I have done to generate an income, and if you're doing the same thing as me, why shouldn't you have the same results, right? So you can see our full income disclaimer at beltrustproject.us/income. All right. So learn, do, teach. All right. We're going to break this down step by step so that you can get a good grasp of what this concept is and how you can use it for yourself. All right. So learn, do, teach. It's exactly how it sounds. You learn something, you do that one thing you learned, and then you teach it immediately. Don't try to wait till further down the line to teach it, till you have a good grasp to teach it. The best way to learn something is by doing it. Everybody knows that. The best way to teach something is by learning it. It's crazy. It's like a little vicious circle, it's a tripod, if you will, right? With these three foundations, you always have that good content, that good information to give, that good follow through, right? So learning, what is the big thing about learning, right? Learning is something that you can do at any point in your life, at any time in your life, at any place in your life, right? It's very important to learn stuff, because if you're not learning, you're basically, to me, you're dying. When you learn something every day, you put yourself in a better position to just protect yourself. You can do something to advance yourself, but you're always building on yourself, right? Anytime you're learning, you're building on yourself, building on their foundation of knowledge that is basically going to give you a better step forward in anything you do. It doesn't matter if it's internet marketing. It could be just lifting weights, or it could be fixing a car. It doesn't matter. Gaining that newfound knowledge is always going to propel you forward. It's never going to propel you backwards, right? So I wrote some notes down. Let me make sure. Anytime you're learning, right, you're going to be growing mentally, right? Possibly even growing physically. I know that sounds weird, but let's say you're learning about construction. You're learning about construction. You're learning how to pour concrete. You're learning how to put up walls. You're learning how to put 2x4s together to build a house or whatever have you. And with that newfound knowledge, now you're in a better step. Maybe you want to be a foreman one day, right? You already have a step in the right direction. You started learning about concrete, right? You started doing, right? That's the important step. You started doing what you learned by doing concrete jobs or whatever have you. And then you keep doing that, you keep doing that. And while you're doing it, you're teaching the new person behind you, or maybe another person that wants to learn how to pour concrete, how to do so, right? That puts you in a position of what? Get advanced, right? Because they're not going to just be like, hey, learn this. You go about learning it, but you don't do anything with that knowledge, right? So you just sit there with that knowledge, and then it goes nowhere. So if I'm your boss and I say, hey, learn how to pour this concrete correctly, you go ahead and learn it, right? You do it, but you do nothing with that knowledge afterwards. You learn it, you still don't pour the concrete correctly, and it just kind of sits there. Now me as your boss, I'm looking at you and be like, okay, you're a waste of my time. Why do I want you around if you're not going to implement the things that I'm trying to teach you? See what I'm saying? When you learn something, not only, okay, if it's from another person above you, this is important. You might want to write this down. If somebody is teaching you something, The best way you can show your appreciation for what they're teaching you is by implementing right away. If you implement right away, not only does it get ingrained in your mind, but it just becomes second nature to you. See what I'm saying? You've heard of muscle memory, right? The more you pick up, the more you do something a certain way, the more it gets ingrained in your body, and then now you're doing it without you even thinking about it, right? Think about it like this. The way you eat cereal, the way you write with a pencil, right? The way you grab that spoon is all muscle memory. Something you've learned from years and years of doing it, and now it's just ingrained in your hand, right? The way you pick up that spoon, the way you bring it to your face, the way you do everything constantly is muscle memory. The way you do something, it's ingrained in your head. So if you learn something, first off, make sure you're learning it the proper way, right? A lot of people try to do shortcuts and stuff like that. It's been my experience that the long way is the best way. Though it's difficult and hard and it gets taxing, but in the end, the knowledge that you're gaining from it is above reproach, right? So that's learning. Learning is going to increase your mind, increase your body, increase your potential, and it's only going to propel you forward, right? Now we're going to get into doing. Why is doing important? Like I said, muscle memory. That's one big key that I want you to keep in mind. Muscle memory, a routine that you build in yourself that makes you continue to do it over and over again, right? But that can be good and bad. That's why I say you want to learn things correctly, because if you start doing things wrong, you're going to ingrain yourself doing things wrong, and you're not going to want to do it anymore, right? Or you're going to just continue doing it wrong, and it's just going to hurt you in the long run. Right? You're not going to go backwards. You're still going to learn, right? Think of what's his name, Thomas Edison, right? How many times did he build a light bulb, right? And how many times did he get it right? And what did he say afterwards? It's not that I learned how to build. I messed up so many times. It's just I learned so many times how to not build a light bulb, right? Took everything as a step forward, and that's what you should do. Doesn't matter if you mess up in the beginning, right? We're all human. We're going to mess up, right? That's where people like me come in, and we mentor you along the way. As long as you're taking action, we can correct your actions. Does that make sense? Think of it as a, how do I say this? Think of it as a bullet, right? When you shoot a bullet, it just goes straight, bam, right? But when you shoot a bullet and there's wind, right? The wind is going to push that bullet wherever the wind direction is, right? The bullet's not going to fly straight anymore. It's going to go wherever that wind is pushing it. That's how you should treat everything that you do. It cannot be corrected until you are actually taking motions, right? Until you're actually moving in the direction that you want to achieve, nothing can be corrected. You can't push a bullet while it's still in the gun. You need to fire that bullet. You need to take a step. You need to take momentum. You need to move towards your direction in order to be corrected, right? So always take action, always move forward, right? See how that comes in? Always move forward in the direction you want to achieve, and then from there, people like me, a mentor, will be able to correct whatever steps you're taking to help you achieve your goals, right? So you need to do. In order to do, you need to learn, right? While you're doing things, you need to open your mind, not just to what you are doing, right? Hammering nails is not just hammering nails, right? You need to make sure the angle of the nail is correct. You need to make sure that it is actually protruding out the right side and connecting to whatever other piece of wood it needs to. You need to make sure it's the right nail. You need to make sure the technique that you're hammering with is correct. See how all that stuff starts to stack up? The more you pay attention on what you do and the intricacies of what you do, the better your mind is going to be open to the possibilities and open to what is possible. Right? So without learning and doing, you're never going to be able to reach this step, which is teaching. Right? And teaching is very important. The reason teaching is very important because it proves what you know. Like me making this video right now proves that I know what I'm talking about. And you listen to it, you're already starting on the first step of learning, which next becomes doing, and next becomes teaching. Right? But when you teach, You want to teach exactly what you know to the best of your abilities, right? Not just, oh, I'm only going to teach you part of it because I kind of want to keep this in my secret stash. That's not a good leader, first off, right? If you're trying to be a good leader, you're trying to be a good person, you're trying to be a good instructor, you want to teach them everything possible so that person is better prepared for what is to come, right? You don't want to just leave that person out in the open with nothing of value, right? You want that person to grasp something from what you're teaching and just be like, holy crap, I don't know how I live my life without knowing this stuff, right? So when you do something, you want to take into account everything you're doing to the very intricacies of what you're doing. So that way when you teach it, you can teach every little aspect of it, right? Thomas Edison would have been able to teach you not to do this, not to do that, not to do this. So that way you can build the perfect light bulb, right? That's the same thing you should be doing. When you do something wrong, don't ignore it. Learn from it. Grab all the knowledge you can from it. So that way when you teach, you can teach why not to do these things, right? Because us as a people, us as a person, us as a human being, we always want to know the secret answer, or the secret question, right? The answer to the secret question, that is why. You can't tell somebody, don't do this, because the first thing they're going to do is do it, right? So I can look at you right now and be like, don't click on one of these ads on the side and learn the 3 steps that I freaking do to earn an income online. I know, right? But the more I tell you not to do it, the more you're going to want to do it, right? It's just our human nature. That's how we are. So by telling people why not to do something or why to proceed a certain way, it's going to give us a better understanding. Not only a better understanding, but it's going to give us a motivation, a reason to do what you say. So I can tell you, don't make stupid videos because nobody's going to watch them, but that's the first thing you're going to do. Now, if I say don't make stupid videos because it's going to discourage people from watching your future videos, which is going to deter you from not making an online income properly, now you see how that's going to play in, and now you can see why I'm telling you this, and you're going to do exactly what I'm telling you because I gave you a reason why, a logical reason why at that. So when you're doing, learn everything that you're doing down to the simplest detail, so that way when you teach, you have the best ability to teach and a full, broad range of teachings that you can give your person, so that way they're better equipped and better prepared for when they go and do and teach as well, right? So why is this concept important? How do I use it personally, right? So we have to learn to teach, as we've been discussing, and anytime I learn something, right? Like lately, I've been listening to a lot of Tony Robbins, and it's been very organized and orchestrated towards personal development, right? Tony Robbins' personal development. But it's been getting past my barriers, because I have a lot of barriers. Like when I first started, I didn't like to make videos. I didn't like to speak, right? I didn't like to write. I wanted to basically get rich quick overnight. And that's not how this works. That's not how any business works. If you're not willing to put in the time, first off, then you're already in the wrong. Right? But without that, I've been just trying to develop myself personally so that way I can be the best me that I can be. Being the best me that I can be, the best people that I can produce better people in the world, right? I can't expect people to do something or be something that I am not. So that's my mindset anyway, right? So the harder I work, the more I can the more I can influence and teach others, right? And the best they can be. To be the best that they can be, for that matter, right? So I started listening to a lot of Tony Robbins, right? So a lot of the stuff that he teaches is personal development and how to get past your barriers and how to break through fears and have breakthroughs, period, and how to set goals and follow them through and be confident and be convinced. You have to convince yourself, right? You have to pretty much take charge of your own self and your own self-conscious to be able to achieve like anything you do in life, right? So through that, I started learning that, started listening to him a lot, learning it. And then right after that, like immediately after that, as soon as I learned something, I taught about it. Whether it was talking to a friend, making a video, writing a blog post, whatever the case might be. Now, I moved forward with it. The point is, I implemented it as soon as I learned it. What that made me do is basically ingrain it in my head, right? So I'm doing exactly what he's teaching me, right? I'm making my goals. I'm setting out a timeline. I'm setting out a timeline of when I want things to be accomplished. I am practicing positive self-talk. I'm encouraging myself. I am moving harder. I'm pushing myself past my comfort zone, right? Implementing it right immediately away. So that way I know that I'm doing it and it's ingrained in me that I'm doing it, right? Right after that, like maybe a couple hours after that, after doing my goal and setting it out, I go ahead and make a video or a blog post, right? Teaching exactly what I've learned, right? I went ahead and made a blog video, I believe, and I set out my goals and I told people most of my goals. Like, for instance, I want to be a six-figure earner by the end of this year, right? It's not that long from now, but I expect myself to be a six-figure earner at the end of this year. That's one of my goals. I want to be able to buy, not even buy, I want to be able to treat my family to the finer things in life, right? Right? We're already good right now, but I want to do extreme things like hike Everest and stuff like that. See what I'm saying? Like, I want to do stuff that people do not ever get to see in their lifetime, right? That's one of my goals. I want my family to be so well managed and so well supported that the sky's the limit, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We want to do it, we do it. We don't want to do it, we don't do it. We have time, we have money, whatever the case might be. There's no worries. Hakuna Matata, right? Just completely all over the place and just having a good time. Enjoying life for what it is, right? Because life is way too short, and that's one thing that I've learned in the military. Life is way too short. So anyway, getting back on track, I learned what I needed to do. I started implementing it right away in myself, and then I taught what I learned through myself, right? I didn't teach exactly how Tony Robbins did. No, I put it in my own words. I showed you my examples of the timeline and the goal settings that I made, and I taught people how to implement it themselves so that they can do it themselves, right? So that's how the concept of learn, do, teach is roughly, right? Now, why is that important? One, it gives me an unlimited source of content, right? That's the main reason I do it. You will never run out of content if you're always learning. If you're always learning, there's no reason you should never be doing. If you're always doing, there's no reason you should never be teaching. And it comes right back around. Learn something, do it, teach it. Learn something, do it, teach it. That's why this concept is very important for any online business person, right? Or anybody, period. It doesn't matter if you're an online business. It's important if you're an online business, but it doesn't matter. It's not only subjected to online businesses. You can do this in anything in your life, right? Learning how to raise a baby, right? You do it. You learn from your parents. You do it yourself. You teach other parents how to do it, right? You learn something at your job. You start doing it yourself. You start teaching the new person how to do it. It's in everyday life. Now, the concept is if you are aware of what's going on and how to grasp it yourself and implement it consciously, right? The more consciously you can do it, the more broader and more, basically, I don't even know how to say it, more impactful you can make it on yourself, right? The more you can grow from it. Now, like I said, I wanted to keep this video short. Hold on. Let me make sure everything is copacetic here. Yeah, we're getting up to that mark. I don't want to pass 30 minutes. But this concept is very important. And I'm going to give you guys like a little task. You don't have to do it, but doing it is obviously going to do what? Give you the ability to teach, right? So I want you guys to go ahead and make a video, right? Make a video of this concept right now. Learn, do, teach, right? Nothing crazy. I want you to make a video about something you've learned, how you have been doing it, and teach it at the end of your video. Amazing, right? Just do it for the next week. The same thing. Learn something that day, do it for yourself, and teach it in a video, right? And you're going to see that the more you do videos, the easier it's going to become. The more you learn something, the more you're going to learn and the more confident you're going to be in your knowledge. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. And the more you teach it, the more satisfying that it becomes, right? Me doing this video, I know somebody's going to be influenced by this video. And it just brings me that kind of joy, that internal joy, right? It's a personal thing. But it brings me that joy that I've helped that person do something or achieve something or just change something in their life, right? For the better, of course. So, with that being said, I want you guys to take this, with a grain of salt and like learn from it, right? Really get it ingrained in yourself and understand that this is a concept that is not only going to propel your business, but it's also going to propel you personally. Like as a person, it's going to propel you forward, right? Gaining new knowledge, doing new things, experiencing new things, and teaching others how to be open and just open-minded to what is possible and what is fruitful in their life, right? Now, I want you guys, there's a comment section below. I want you guys to give me something, like how did this video influence you, right? How did it inspire you? How did it help you, right? With your mindset or whatever the case might be. How did this video influence you to do something better, right? If you made a video, tag it in the comments below. I want you guys to really take this for what it is, and it's me trying to help you, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and end this webinar now. I hope you guys got something out of it. I know I did, talking to you guys, teaching you guys, right? And I wish you guys the best. This is Gabriel Beltras of Project Freedom. Hope you guys have a good time. Take it easy.